Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, Subscription Boxes and More with Michelle. And what am I here to do today? Well, I'm here to introduce you to my furry family and tell you how I became a crazy cat lady. Up until about 2.5 years ago, I thought that I was strictly a dog person. Shh, don't let the cats hear you. I did not think I liked cats. I didn't think I liked cats. Matter of fact, I didn't much care for any cat I had ever really met. Of course, I didn't give them much of a chance. Then one day, Riley and I went to Dollar General, and a lady came in, and she had a little box full of little tiny kittens. And she was looking for someone to take some of these kittens. The mother cat had been living under their shed and had given birth and had at some point gone out, probably hunting or what have you, and was hit by a car. Riley already had a cat that she had bottle raised from a teeny tiny little kitten that was so small that it wasn't supposed to be able to live. By the way, the kitten is now full grown and is about 5 years old. So she knew definitely how to bottle raise a kitten. Well, problem is Riley had 3 little kids at home, and Riley also was working. And so Riley didn't have the time to devote to bottle raising a kitten and enlisted me to help. I lived in their basement at the time. My husband and I lived in the basement apartment. And I thought, well, you know, what could it hurt, right? So this teeny tiny little tuxedo black and white kitten, covered in fleas, and no bigger than the palm of my hand, and I've got a really small hand, right? Little tiny thing. We took her to the vet, and the vet said she was maybe 3 weeks old. And I started doing the every 2-hour or less bottle feeding, and within, well, probably with her first meow, I fell madly in love with a cat. Something that I, to this point, swore I couldn't even stand. This only grew as the days passed, and every time I thought of the kitten going back upstairs to live with Riley's family, right above my head, I would bawl like a baby. At this time, the kitten's name was Hoku, or Hokulani, which is like star from heaven or star in heaven or something. Well, I called her Meow-Meow because she would meow at me. Let's get Meow-Meow. Come here, baby. You just got to say hi. I won't make you stay on my lap. She does not like to be held. You just have to say hi. Oh, say hi to your fans. Say hi. Say hi, Meow-Meow. This is Meow-Meow. She is 2.5 years old, and she started my cat addiction. I cried and I cried and I cried, and I kept begging Riley not to take Meow-Meow and offered money and everything. And finally, Riley said, if you want her that bad, just keep her. Well, I wanted her that bad, so I kept her. Then she got very, very sick, and she had Bartonella. And if you've not heard of Bartonella, you may have heard of cat scratch fever. That's what cat scratch fever is Bartonella. And she almost died. And she had to spend 5 days in ICU, and my free kitten cost over $5,000. And I would do it again. I would spend $5 million if it meant saving her life. Well, when she finally got well, I had to force her to live, by the way. That's why she doesn't like me as much as she likes my husband. I had to force feed her. I had to force her to go potty. I had to force the medicine down her that saved her life. So she puts up with me only when she has to. She loves me, but from a distance. But when she came home, she needed a friend. I felt that she needed a playmate. And you see her there? And so I didn't want another cat, mind you. But Meow-Meow needed a cat. So that brings us to Bugatti. Little Bugatti was living with the family. He was one of the kittens that they had that they decided they could not wait until they were 6 weeks or older to get rid of. And so at about 4.5, 5 weeks, they decided to lie and say that he was 6 weeks old and give him away. Bugatti came to live with me, and we realized right away that he really wasn't eating regular food, and he had to be bottle fed for about a week as well. Bugatti, if you can see, before he runs away back to his bed, has a Mickey Mouse head silhouette. If I can show you when he's not stretching weird. Really, he does. If I can get you to hold still for just a moment. He has a Mickey Mouse head silhouette, like from the side. The way he's stretching, it's hard to see it. But it's the 2 ears and then the face with the nose, if you can kind of see it. When he's sitting properly, it's not stretched out like that. And his name is Bugatti, like the sports car, or Bugatti. So, after a while, I decided I'd kind of like to have another cat. Imagine that. I actually, I had a black and white cat and a white and black cat. I wanted a black cat and or a white cat. That brings us to Sugar and Spice. Let me go get one or the other. Hold on. So that brings us to Sugar and Spice, the twins. So this one is Spice, or Spicy Spice, or Spice Baby. We call her Spicy. Why is it they want to sit on me until I'm filming? Look at her little two-tone face there. And she's all black and white. They were in a shelter. Let me get Sugar, her twin. And here's little Miss Sugar, or Shuggy Shug. And she's all white. Twin to Spice, Sugar and Spice, and everything nice. Except for when I'm trying to film. I don't know what it is about filming that makes them not want to be held at all. Any other time, I have no trouble. Say hi, Shuggy. So Sugar and Spice were together in a shelter. And they had been there for about 3 months, or so, maybe a little longer. And because nobody wanted the both of them together, which makes no sense to me, well, that's why they were at the shelter for so long. Well, of course, we would never dream of splitting the two up. That would be very cruel. They'd been together their whole lives. And I seem to have this affinity for black and white, or black or white cats, right? So they couldn't have been any more perfect. I wanted a solid white or solid black cat. And black and white is my thing, where cats are concerned. So, of course, Sugar and Spice had to come and live with us. Their names were Duchess, the white cat, Sugar, and Goose. Goose for the black and white one. That beautiful, magnificent, they called her Goose. So, of course, we weren't about to split those two angel babies up, and they sure look like a Sugar and Spice to me. Now, Spice is not the spicy kind of spice. Well, occasionally she can be a little spicy, but she's a cat. She's the sweet and spicy kind. But now, my set was a little incomplete. I had 4 cats, but I had a solid white cat, 2 black and white cats, and a white and black cat. I needed a solid black cat. And this brings us to Mr. Nubbins. Hold on. This is Mr. Nubbins, or Nubby, or as I affectionately call him, Nub Nub. And why is his name Mr. Nubbins? Well, that would be why. Mr. Nubbins is a Manx, and that means he only has part of a tail. He was born that way. Manx cats either have no tails or little nubby tails, like little Mr. Nubby, who wants down, or they can even have long tails. And the people that had Mr. Nubbins had his mother and siblings, and they were being thrown out of their apartment because they weren't supposed to have pets. So they rehomed everyone except for the mom and Mr. Nubbins, who was already mine because I had already met them and picked him out when he was barely had his eyes open, because we knew they were being thrown out. They kept them until they didn't have a choice, and again, they were separated from their mother before they were old enough. But he was on solid food, and I supplemented with a little bit. I added formula to his food and made a slurry. He didn't have to have a bottle. But there he is, see, with Meow-Meow. But he and his mother were the last. We tried to keep him with his mother as long as possible, and Riley had worked with one of the people that had been evicted from the apartment, and so they said, well, they would keep the mother and Mr. Nubbins together for a few days because the mother was the only one that didn't have a home. And rather than take her to the pound, they said, well, how about if we keep her with her baby and keep her for a little bit? So they kept her in the basement apartment where I used to live with her little boy. And it was only going to be just a few days. And so I went ahead and took Mr. Nubbins, and then they couldn't bear, Riley and Riley's family couldn't bear to part with Mr. Nubbins' mother, Anara, which is what they call her, because it meant she would go to the pound, and they weren't about to let that happen. So in the end, what was going to be just a few additional days of keeping the mother until they figured out something has turned into, now they have two black cats, two female black cats. Their other black cat's name is Wednesday, as in Wednesday Addams. So along came my son Jonathan, that you've seen in videos, lived here, and he had two little kittens that we called Weasley, as in Ron Weasley and all the Weasleys from the Harry Potter films, because he was an orange tabby, and a gray tabby that we called Albus. They were litter mates. So Albus, as in Albus Dumbledore, also from Harry Potter. Well, John decided to move back to Ohio, and this really upset the household because Spicy mothered those kittens, like, you know, even though she was not their mother, she has a very motherly instinct, and she took them under her, she's not a bird, not under her wing, in her little paws, in her little toe beans, and she, you know, took care of them. And then Bugatti acted as their substitute father, and he, unlike most father cats, loved on them and doted on them as well. Well, Meow-Meow hated their guts, or so we thought. Until one day, Albus's collar had come off at some point before they left, and she found it. Meow-Meow did. And she started carrying it around and meowing and crying and meowing and crying. And we realized that it wasn't just the other cats that were affected by the kittens leaving, but it was Meow-Meow, Miss Hard-Hearted Meow-Meow, who was a softie in disguise. She was very much affected. She was the one crying and looking all over the house for them and carrying this collar around. Well, that led us to the shelter. Well, the shelter website, and in a foster home was a tiny little white and black cat that kind of reminded me a bit of Mr. Bugatti, who is my emotional support animal, by the way. Mr. Bugatti, aka Boo Kitty, or Boo Boo. Boo is my emotional support animal. And so when I saw this little kitten that looked very similar to Boo, I was smitten immediately. His name was Newt, or is Newt. We call him Newt Scamander, or Little Newt, or Little Baby Newt, because Newt doesn't seem to be growing. Hold on, and I will get Newt. He was right here, in this red and green bed. This is little baby Newt. Look at him, guys. See? He's white. Oh, he wants back in the bed. White and black. He's got the little black on his head, on his ear. And like Boo, he has a black tail. All right. I will, here, say hi first. Say hi, Internet Land. Hi, YouTube world. I'm so cute. My name is Newt. Little Newt. So yes, if you counted, that's 6. I have 6 cats. Why? Because I'm a crazy cat lady that didn't know she was a cat lady until I got a cat. Or until Riley got a cat and I stole Riley's cat. So as you can imagine, I spend a couple $100 plus in cat food a month. And let's not even talk about the treats, the Temptation chicken treats. And let's not discuss the pretty litter that is horribly expensive. In the great big huge swimming pool litter box, if you've seen that video. Plus we have other litter boxes around the house because, you know, you're supposed to have one more litter box than what you have cats. But with the great big swimming pool one, we only have 2 other regular sized litter boxes because they barely go to the other 2. They only go to the swimming pool one mostly. Yes, I scoop a lot of poop, but that's worth every bit of it. And then there's the vet bills. Oh my goodness. They barely sneeze and I've got them rushed to the vet because I am worse with them probably than I was my children, my human children, because human children can tell you when something hurts or when they don't feel good, or cats not so much. So I do take them to the vet very regularly. They are all fixed, so there will be no oops babies. They were all oops babies, and they were all rescues, every single one. And we love them like our real babies, only these ones don't grow up and leave home. So I do have 2 Chihuahuas, as you've seen in, why don't I just go ahead and introduce them too. They're elderly. They're at least 16 or 17 years old. We've had them, again, rescues. Precious, our female, was a puppy who, the lady who had them was pregnant and on total bed rest, so she could not keep the puppies, and I don't know what she did with the mother dog. She didn't have the father. The father was like a relative's. I'm not sure what she did with the mother dog, but she had to get rid of the puppies because there was no way for her to take care of everyone, and because she was on total bed rest and had to be for several months during her pregnancy. So we rescued Precious first, and then Pedro, our male, who's now totally blind. He was at the pound, and I was driving by one day going with a foster child to a doctor's appointment, and something just told me, you have to stop at the pound, there's a Chihuahua in there that needs you. And I went straight to his kennel and got him out, and this lady came around the corner screaming, "Put him back! He's vicious!" And they were going to put him down that day. that was like at 8 in the morning when they first opened, and he was slotted to be euthanized at 10 because he was vicious. Well, I reached right in the cage and got him out. And the only thing he did was flip over and pee on me and mark me as his. And I was very upset. I begged and pleaded. They turned me down and said there was nothing that could be done. So I called the county commissioner because I didn't know what else to do, and begged and pleaded. He was a dog lover and a dog rescuer, and he called them and said, hey, this lady, you give her the dog, you have her sign papers, a waiver that if he ever bites anyone, you're not liable, and give her the dog. And so that's how we rescued, literally saved his life. And, you know, in the last few minutes before they euthanized him. Got him a stay of execution, and we've had him ever since. He's never bitten anyone, and now he doesn't have any teeth to bite anybody. He's got one tooth. So hang on, and I will go get a dog, and they'll like to be held a whole lot more than the cats. This is Precious Baby, and she's 16 or 17 years old. And by the way, she's the one that had the bad hot spot. And as you can see, all but that little bit of hair has, I mean, it's growing back in. It's just short. And so that that product that we were sent for review, the glove, washcloth type things, grooming gloves, and the spray, the skin healing spray, those work their magic, and she is healing up very nicely. There's no scabs. There's nothing left. And there's our beautiful little girl. That is Precious Baby. And let me get Pedro, because this is a long enough video. And this little guy is Pedro. And I could hold him all day. He's not going to squirm or want down. He's a mommy's boy. Everybody else is too busy doing their own thing, being a cat, or Precious is daddy's girl. Precious and Meow-Meow. He's stole both my girls. And this is Pedro. Poor little boy. I don't know if you can see how cloudy his eyes are. He can't really see. I think he can see a little light, but that's it. And his little tongue is sticking out because he don't got no teeth. No teeth to hold it in. Get it in there. It's getting dry. Get your tongue in. Get your tongue in. So that's the story of my 9, count them, 9 animals. Yep, I'm crazy. But I love them all, and I wouldn't trade them for anything. You could offer me millions and I wouldn't part with a one. But I also don't intend to collect any more. When the dogs are gone, we probably won't have any more dogs. Just because as I get more ill, it's harder to take them out and all of that. So cats are easier in that regard. So it's not that I don't love dogs anymore, because I certainly do. It just, 6 cats is enough work. So I don't intend to get any more cats. We've got the perfect combination of black or white, or black and white, or white and black kitties. And we have 3 boys and 3 girls, and so I would say our family of cats is complete. So I hope that you enjoyed meeting my fur family, and I would love to hear about yours. Do you have cats? Do you have dogs? Are you a dog person, a cat person, a fish person, a lizard person? Just let me know in the comments what pets you have, or if you have, and let's talk about it. And please give me that big old thumbs up, because you know that would really help my channel, and I need to be able to buy lots and lots of treats for my fur babies. So let's get to that 1,000 so we can get monetized. So please subscribe to my channel, and please share my video with others so that maybe they might subscribe as well. And thank you so much for watching and for listening to me babble and watching me get scratched as I tried to get people to hold still when they didn't want to. Bye-bye. Say bye-bye. Say bye-bye, Pedro.